Alright, so let's talk about Beforepay and why you probably shouldn't use it, and I'll tell you guys why I'm not the biggest fan of this company. This video is going to be a bit opinionated, but I'll also add in some facts as well. If you guys are new here, my name is Faisy. This channel is about finance and investing. Before we begin, this video is not financial advice. Let's jump into it. So what exactly is Beforepay? Pretty much they're a 21st century payday lender, as some people describe them. Basically, they allow you to access your pay before payday for a small fee of 5%. So for example, if you want to take out $100 from your pay as an advance, you'll be paying a fee of $5. It's very simple. This is the only fee that they charge. Now, the angle that they're trying to come from is that they're trying to be very kind of virtuous. They're trying to be the white knight in a way where, as you guys can see, they're saying that traditional lenders charge around 50 to 120% in interest and fees, which is true. There are lenders out there, a lot of, insane lenders that charge this much fees and this much interest, which is literally insane. So basically what they're saying is that Beforepay is cheaper, they're quicker, and that's their main kind of value proposition. And the money that you get is instant as well. But essentially, if you zoom out of all that fluff that they talk about in their marketing, essentially they're just a modern day payday fintech lender. But instead of having those hidden fees that other payday lenders do, they have a very transparent fee structure, which is just 5%. Now, they're being very transparent, which is fine. But my issue with this sort of offering and this sort of company, and my biggest issue, is the fact that this company targets the most vulnerable Australians that are out there. People that are basically living paycheck to paycheck. Now, how do I know this? Having a look at the eligibility criteria, as you guys can see, one of their criteria is that you have to be earning over $300 per week after tax. That's about $15,000 per year. And they've also said, sorry, but Centrelink payments cannot make up more than 50% of this amount. Now, the fact that they had to put Centrelink in there specifically just goes to show that people that were applying were using Centrelink payments to actually make up that $300 per week after tax amount, which is pretty crazy. And these people are essentially the lowest income earners of Australia, pretty much in the lowest tax bracket. And this company is essentially there to entice these people to take up this sort of offering. Now, what do you think happens when you lend to people that are not in the best financial position? They're on Centrelink and they're very vulnerable financially. They default. This article was published just last month on the AFR, and as you guys can see, in FY 2021, write-offs and provisions totaled $5 million against $4.5 million worth of income, while the previous year when it began operations, 48K of write-offs exceeded the $44,000 worth of revenue. So as you can see, that is a shortfall of $500,000 between the write-offs versus the income that they're getting. People have pretty much spent all their money that they got in advance on, and now they're behind on their payments, they're behind on their own pay. And what this does is that it keeps them in that cycle where they're living paycheck to paycheck, and this vicious cycle just keeps on continuing. Like, this company is claiming to be a virtuous alternative where they're charging very little, they're being transparent, which is good. However, the end result is pretty much the same. You've got three stages. You've got the customer in their current situation, which is stage A. Then you have stage B when the customer actually uses this product. And then you have stage C where the customer has finished using this product, and comparing stage C to stage A, the customer is in a worse off position because they've used this service and they've paid that 5% fee. And this is pretty similar to using those payday lenders where they're in situation A, and at the end of it, they're in a worse off situation. So this company, at the end of the day, although they're charging less, it is no better than those sorts of services, simply because the customer is in a worse off position after using it. Now, I will say that they have actually stopped lending to people on the dole as per this article, as they want to list on the ASX next year to reduce risky borrowers on their balance sheet, and their financials are starting to look better. But the website, as we saw before, still says that they'll accept 50% Centrelink, so I'm not too sure what's going on with that. Maybe they're still accepting Centrelink, but this article is saying differently, so I'm not too sure what's happening there. Now, personally, I cannot see any situation why using Beforepay would be better as opposed to just saving up your own emergency fund. This company is basically encouraging people to use credit rather than actually using up their own savings. The only real thing that I can think of is the whole time value of money principle, where the money in hand today is worth more than the exact same amount in the future, where if there is a dip in the market and the person doesn't have any money and they use an advance on their money and they buy the dip and they actually come out on top, then all that is worth it. However, most people that use this sort of service, they're not trying to, do that. And if that was the plan all along, they should have cash flowed better, there should have been more savings there. So I can't really, think of any sort of situation when using this sort of service would be more beneficial than just using your savings. Now, the app also has a budget feature where it links to your bank account and it tracks your expenses, and it also creates a personalized budget for you. Now, look, if you're trying to defend this company, you may actually bring up this point, and it's actually a pretty good point where they're trying to actually help people out. But hear this, the main business of this app is still getting you to get your pay early. So despite all these helpful features, they're still collecting data on you, and who knows, they may even send you a personalized, sneaky little notification saying something like, maybe if you've gone over your budget, they may say something like, hey, we noticed you went over your budget. Here's a special offer of 4% where if you're short on money, you can get some extra money. Instead of paying the 5%, you can pay 4% just to cover yourself. And that's how, using data, they can still send you those personalized offers. Because just keep in mind, this company is, very good at marketing. They've got some really good copy on their website, so they can do stuff like that where the more data you give them, the more information they have, the more power they have against you, and they can use that to their own advantage. Now, I'm not too sure if you've noticed, but I've seen an increasing trend of companies like this where they're trying to put a righteous spin on something which otherwise isn't really seen as something that's really that good. So I've seen this with companies like Wiser, as you guys can see. Basically, they're in the business of giving out personal loans, but they're trying to put a good spin on it where they're trying to help you to check your credit score, help you to improve it somehow, and also helping you to budget as well. But at the end of the day, their core business is loans. You've got companies like Beforepay where they're trying to help you to budget, but at the end of the day, their core business is getting you that 5%, charging you that 5% fee for getting your pay. And some people may even argue that Afterpay, obviously at the end of the day, they're a buy now, pay later service, but they've also got a banking service with Westpac called Money by Afterpay, where it helps you to track your money and your expenses. So they're trying to put a righteous spin on a business which is focused on buy now, pay later. So just watch out for this sort of stuff. You will be seeing more and more companies trying to be, trying to help you be more financially fit, but under the hood, they've got services like this. There's also similar offerings in the market right now with companies like MyPayNow, with similar business model to Beforepay, where they charge you a 5% fee to get your pay early. Combank Advance Pay is also in on this. Of course, they're charging a flat fee of $5 or $10 depending on how much money you're trying to get early. So these are the new types of offerings. Who knows what type of offering they'll come out with in the future, but just keep that in mind. If you're just trying to budget and track your expenses, you can check out a completely free app called WeMoney, link in description, to get $5 for you and me. And they'll also help you to check your credit score, track your expenses and budget and whatnot. So go check it out. If that is your sole intention to actually get good with money, this app is good for that, where they're not trying to get you to sign up for some buy now, pay later service. So Beforepay is going to be IPOing in January 2022. It's going to be interesting to see how the market reacts to this company and what this company ends up being in the future. And I may even make a video about this company to showcase its financials, and we'll go from there, as I used to do with my other videos. So we'll see what happens. Now, the AFR actually wrote a few articles about Beforepay and its IPO. And what the AFR does is when they write articles, they share those articles to Facebook. And of course, people can publicly comment on those Facebook articles. And one of the comments said something like, how do I bet against this working? Which I thought was pretty funny. It got a couple of laugh reacts or whatever. So obviously you can see that people are obviously not happy. They're not really rooting for this company to succeed. And people that actually understand personal finance, obviously this is not a very good offering when you look at it from that sort of lens. So just keep that in mind. And lastly, what I'll say is that using this sort of offering, it's a personal responsibility, right? It's a personal decision. Like Beforepay is going to offer this sort of offering to everyone, but it's your responsibility if you want to actually go ahead with it. Nobody is forcing you to use it. If there is something that you can't afford, you should probably wait until payday. Build up that emergency fund, use your savings, do not use services like this. It can really place you in that sort of debt trap. Now, if you enjoyed this video, check out my other video on Hum, which is a buy now, pay later service targeting high value purchases up to $30,000. It is completely interest free. Check this video out, but of course they have fees as well. And this video goes through some few examples which you might want to check out. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. The main business of this app is still getting